1 month of episodes have passed since season 9 began, and today the show visits India to interview an entrepreneur who has helped hundreds of people reach a global scale. My name is Vincent A. Lanci, and this is That Entrepreneur Show. Each week on this platform, I interview a different entrepreneur from across the country and around the globe. Whether you are looking to start or scale your business, this is the show for you. You never know which motivational journey will inspire you most. He started out like many teenagers, just out of high school, confused about what he'd like to do in life, and of course, clueless about what to major in college. His friends wanted to become engineers, so he just followed suit. Eventually, Vikrant realized that engineering was not for him. He started his first business that failed in 6 months' time, and he was in a debt of $5,000 at the age of 19. This is where he began writing. Now, he is the founder and CEO of the infamous bestsellingbook.com. Today's episode will help you build authority to help your expertise and ultimately add value to people's lives despite not having the time and skills in writing, or that may be your excuse or in your head. So allow me to now introduce Vikrant. Shaurya. Vikrant, thank you so much for coming on the show.
Thank you so much, Vincent, for that lovely introduction. I'm really excited to be on the show.
I'm excited to have you. Would you mind taking a few moments to please introduce yourself to our listeners and previewing just part of your story before we dive in and get going on your entrepreneurial journey?
Yeah, sure. So simply what I do is I help entrepreneurs, experts, coaches, and thought leaders who have amazing ideas, amazing stories, amazing message to share with the world, but they don't have the time and skill set to write a book. So I have a team of professional book writers, editors, publishers, marketers who take their ideas and turn it into a book without them actually writing the book. We have an amazing system through which we have helped hundreds of entrepreneurs, coaches, and thought leaders turn their ideas into a best-selling book. And of course, business was not my background. No one in my family was in business. My parents wanted me to be an engineer. And of course, as you introduced me, I started as an engineer. I took an admission in the college, but then I decided that it's not for me. I did so much of test and trial, and then I figured out that, okay, publishing is for me. It's my passion. And that's where I started bestsellingbook.com.
A book can certainly leverage career, or at least it has for me. It's another business card in a way in some situations. And now you mentioned your friends wanted engineering. You didn't want it. Your parents wanted engineering. You didn't want it. So you did trial and error. Can you now talk about those trial and errors a little more in detail and the reasons that exact moment, I should say, of what pushed you into entrepreneurship?
Mm-hmm. The exact moment when I was in the third semester of my engineering college, I was, of course, not satisfied with all the classes going on. Everything was so much theoretical. So I somehow decided that, okay, let's do it, because my dad had sold his land to got my admission in the engineering college. So somehow I was doing it. But in the third semester, I read this book in the college library called Rich Dad, Poor Dad by Robert Kiyosaki. And it completely changed my perception about finance, about life. And the very same day, I just dropped out of the college. When I dropped out, I just knew that I had to start something of my own. I had no idea, no clue that what I'll be working on. I got a business idea. I started it. I hired some employees. I took some loan from my friends' families. And basically within just 6 months, I completely ran out of the money. And I was in debt at of more than $5,000. And then I was sitting in my single room apartment, which I was not able to pay the bill of. And with a crashed laptop, I still remember that the fan was not working when I was typing on it. Then it used to burn like anything, and with a 2G internet speed, right? And I was searching online on internet that how to make money with zero investment, because I had no money at all. And then I stumbled upon self-publishing. I somehow in 21 days, because I had nothing to do, I just wrote and wrote, and somehow I wrote a book in 21 days. My girlfriend back then was really good at academics, and she fixed the grammar and everything. And then I published the book. Now she's my wife. And so I still remember that when I published my first book, I didn't make much money in the first month. Like I made around $27, and but it was a really big amount for me because it was the first dollar I made online. I remember that I was jumping on my bed in the night when I saw that, okay, this is the royalty I'll be getting. Then I published another book within just 3 days, and under my pen names. And I also did some marketing. I made around $440. So basically, I figured out that how this self-publishing thing work, how to do the marketing, how to design the covers, and all kind of a different aspects of the self-publishing thing. Things started changing when people in my Facebook friend list, they started reaching out to me that like, hey, how can I write the book myself? I started helping them, right? And I also started offering my coaching program. Mm-hmm. Then the thing again started changing when, after helping thousands of people with my coaching, with my courses, I some of the people they mentioned who are entrepreneurs that, hey, like everything is good, your coaching is fine, maybe we can write it, but we don't have the time. Can you do it for us? Then I got this idea that there are so many people out there who have amazing ideas, amazing stories to share with the world, but don't have the time, don't have the skill set. Then I assembled a team of book writers, editors, publishers, marketers globally. Now the company, I incorporated it in states, and of course, majority of the people, most of the clients we have, they are from states. But now we are also reaching out to, we are also helping people in Canada, in Australia, in UK, so all the different parts of the world. So yeah, this is how like I started in. I got this zeal that okay, I'm going to be an entrepreneur, and this is how my journey started.
You founded your own company, but I think the more important message is you went after what you were passionate about. Just because your parents want you to do something or your close friends, they want the best for you is what they want. That's why they want something secure. For example, a 9-to-5, example, engineering. But when you do something you're passionate about, you push yourself a little harder and look at the success that's now unraveled. But since you left the engineering, you did things on your own. What are the two hardest parts of being an entrepreneur for you?
So I think the first most hardest part is to realize that what exactly the market needs.
Right.
So of course, you can start your business. You can do anything which you want. Any business idea can come and you can start working on it. But you really have to understand that, does the market really need it? Mm-hmm. Does the people will really pay me the money for the services or the products I'm offering? It's the hardest part to understand that, because, and I think that was one of the reasons my first business failed. I spent so much money in that, and I figured out that it was not a really big problem. So understanding that what exact problem you will be solving and understanding whether people will be paying for that problem or not is the number one challenge, or the biggest hardest thing. The second hardest thing I would I would say is working, like of course initially when you start the business, like you are your own boss and you have started your business, maybe you are the single man army. Then working and creating the systems and process so that you can scale the business to the next level is the second hardest thing. And some people, maybe they are not great at creating systems, some people are not great at creating process, but it's really important, because if you have to work with the team, and of course you have to work with the team if you really want to scale the business, then you have to have some kind of a system, some kind of processes, so that even if, for example, if you're an entrepreneur, if you're not present in the business, maybe for 6 months, maybe you are somewhere else, then still the business should work like clockwork. So these are the two challenges which I face, and of course I'm still working on the second thing, right? I'm still developing some systems, some more processes, so that the business can run smoothly even without me. And I think I'm I have done so many things in that, but still, like, there's so many improvements which I have to make.
I love those two choices. Systems are huge. I have systems in place throughout my day. My morning is very, very structured, and that's what helps me
Mm,
push through the rest of the day. Scaling is obviously a challenge. I am a solopreneur. I have a small operation right now, but I do see it growing soon. I have had interns in the past, but
mhm,
selecting the right person that will hold themselves accountable and have a passion for doing it. You know the saying, if you want it done right, you have to do it yourself. It is tricky to
mhm,
find people who will give you that due diligence and honesty to push you forward. But throughout your journey so far here, Vikrant, what is one of your greatest failures or lessons learned through entrepreneurship? What did it teach you?
mhm. So the greatest failure I had was, of course, when my first business failed. And the 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 lesson which I learned from that business is, like, of course, I was very much into showbiz. Means, okay, so to run a business, I have to hire so many employees. So the moment when I got some money, I lent some money from my friends and family, I started hiring. I didn't work on the business idea. I didn't work on understanding whether people really need that my services or not. And I started hiring people. I started designing some amazing website, right? Also started
Crushing it, yeah.
investing in. I also started maybe creating some kind of an app for that business. So I had no clue. Of course, I had some kind of a basic idea that this is what I'll be working on, but I started hiring people, and people, of course, like, they will be taking your money, they will be providing the services, but eventually, like, you have to first of all understand that what does the market need. And that was one of the biggest failure which I had. But at the same time, I really learned that in business, of course, like, you have to really take care of your cash flow, understanding that you have, in the beginning especially, like, you have limited cash flow, and you have to use your cash in a right way
Mhm.
in order to take your business to the next level.
You have to be very careful of how you spend. That's exactly it, because before you know it, that money could be gone. If you make a poor
Yeah.
move with the money, then your business is
Mm,
actually 10 steps back when you need to keep moving forward. But in
mm,
order to do these, you have to network, you have to read, you have to learn. If you could
yeah.
choose to learn from any entrepreneur, have a conversation here, Vikrant, dead or alive, who would you choose?
That's interesting question. So recently, like, I guess a few months ago, I discovered that, of course, since the childhood, like, I was listening about Mother Teresa. And of course, I thought, okay, so she was in NGO, she was in helping people, like, how to, like, she was serving people. But several few months ago, like, I discovered that 50% more than 50% of her time was in fundraising.
Mm-hmm.
She was very much after, like, she knew that if she really has to serve more number of people, then she has to really work on understanding that where the money is going to come, so that she can help more and more people. She has a really big team. She had a really big team, and she had to really, of course, pay them as well. Do you know that when she died, like, at the time of her death, her net worth was around more than $100 million? And so, and there were some of her personal bank accounts which had more than $100 million in her account. So of course, the thing is, if she were alive, and of course I had a chance to talk to her, I really want to discuss about, like, how she used to manage the money, how she used to fundraise the money, how she used to manage a really big team, and also take her name out, right, in the public.
Very, very solid choice. I'm going to take it a step further here, Vikrant. Where would this meeting go down if you got to choose? Which location are you picking?
Okay. I think in my apartment.
Home
I'll
field
be
advantage.
comfortable.
Yep,
Yeah.
exactly. Get your mind right in the position to ask great questions. Let's now look into the
Mhm.
future. We're going to do short term and long term here, Vikrant. Where do you see yourself in all of your entrepreneurial endeavors short term?
Hmm. So I would say the short term would be the 3 years goal. So I would say that in 3 years, I really want to publish at least one New York Times bestseller for myself. So and also till date, like we have expertise in publishing Amazon bestsellers, Wall Street Journal bestsellers, and USA Today Journal bestseller. We really have capabilities and expertise to do that. But we also have to develop, like we are working on developing systems and process and marketing team so that we can also offer New York Times bestsellers as well. So first of all, I'll be working on my own New York Times bestseller, and if I'll be doing it, then I'll also release that service for my clients.
A great
Talking
book
about the
for you would
long
be a great book for you would be for systems. I picked up a copy. I'm reading it right now. It's by David Jenyns. He was on this podcast
systemology,
season. It's yeah. Oh, you know him? Yes.
yeah,
Yeah.
he is a friend of Ellen Dib. So Ellen Dib is also my good friend, and also he used to be my coach last year for more than 6 months.
Alan was episode number 100, who
Oh,
introduced
awesome.
me to David. Actually, small world.
Oh, great. So
Yeah.
yeah, like from Ellen Dibs, like I got introduced to David, and I also like he had a system. I think System Hub, kind of a software he uses.
Yeah.
So
That's
I
right.
don't use System Hub, but yeah, I use some other tools which are kind of a similar to System Hub. But yeah, like the book which he had is really amazing
Yeah,
on systems.
absolutely. I love the ambition there. Short term. Let's now look a little big picture.
Mm.
Long term.
So talking about the long term, I would say that if someone is going to talk about the top publishing companies, I really want to have my own company under the top three. So this is the long term goal I have.
That will be very exciting to see unravel. I think with your hard work and your ability to continue moving forward, you're putting systems in place that will come. Now I'm going to ask you for your take on the Spotlight story. Each week, I share an entrepreneurial journey to inspire our listeners, and I would love your take on this one and any extra advice you could add from your own knowledge. As we have an MVP Indian entrepreneur on the show this week, I will now share the journey of another in Dhirubhai Ambani. This entrepreneur lived from 1932 to 2002, and he was an Indian businessman who started out humbly, I learned, selling traditional snacks to religious pilgrims. He got bigger, his business endeavors grew. He diversified into other industries that included logistics, power generation, information technology, telecommunications, and the commuter goods fields. Now, like I said, he was born in 1932, and these fields are the biggest fields now. So imagine the pioneer he was back then. And today, Reliance Industries is India's largest private company. It's listed on the Fortune 500. Vikrant, what do you like best about his story? What else can you add?
So all the Indians, and especially all the middle class people in India, since the childhood, like they always like hear stories about Dhirubhai Ambani, and the reason being like he started from rags, and now of course he was one of at one point he was one of the richest person in India, and of course now his son, he had two sons, um, Mukesh Ambani and Anil Ambani. Mukesh Ambani is now, I think, the number one richest person in India, and I think he comes in top 5 or top 10 in the entire world. So the thing which I really liked, the thing or the story which I had, some of the stories of Dhirubhai Ambani was, do you know that he was really not good at academics? Like he used to fail so many subjects, and teacher used to like beat him. Like in India, like uh, like there are some other things like teacher used to beat students, like it was 10 years ago, but now of course things has changed. But he at the same time, when you mentioned that, like he used to sell snacks, he used to sell snacks as well as spices to some places. And do you know that he didn't produce, or he didn't created this snacks and spices under his own manufacturing company? What he used to do is he used to sell the he used to buy it from some local vendors, and just basically like had his own branding called Reliance Spices, right? His company name is Reliance, and he used to sell it to other things. So basically, like he was really smart. He was
Yeah.
really good at marketing, he used to go to the villages because they used to produce amazing snacks and spices with a very little cost. He used to buy them from it, but he was really good at packaging. He was really good at marketing. So yeah, like these are few of the stories like which I wanted to share. Maybe
Yeah.
like, of course, it would be adding value to your audience.
Absolutely. I had a lot of value. I've been really trying to hold myself more accountable of picking stories that I hope resonate with the listener, be either based on location or male or female. I try to do my best to get some value, and you just added that. So thank you so much. And for joining the show, ton of value in there too. I loved how you followed your passion and you explained to our listeners that it is okay to make that uncomfortable jump. If no one believes in you, believe in yourself. If it's what you want to do, it can work out. I enjoyed your short and long-term visions as well as the lessons learned. And now I'd like to ask you for your last word. Do this on my other podcast too, so I can give the listeners a chance to get to know you, the guest.
Mm.
What are we ending off on, Vikrant?
Yeah, sure. So for your audience, like what I can offer is those people like who want to write their book, publish their book, market the book, but don't have the systems in place, like how to do that. So they can go to bestsellingbook.com, bestselling.com/checklist.
Mhm.
And there is a free downloadable checklist which comes with a detailed blueprint which explains how to use that checklist. And basically they can download it, they can print it out, and they can paste it on their wall, and they can start working on their book, right? So this is
Amazing.
what I could offer to your audience: bestsellingbook.com/checklist.
You heard today's episode. You heard all the value in it. Be sure to head right there after this episode ends to get yourself more familiar with some new stuff that may leverage your career. And now it's also social media time for us. We're at That Entrepreneur Show on LinkedIn, Instagram, and Facebook, and on Twitter. We're at Podcasts by Lanci, so you get updates from this show and a mental health break. My handles are at Vincent A. Lanci on all social media and YouTube, and my website is vincentalanci.com. If you would love a signed book instead of Amazon, DM me. I would love to connect. I am a 3-time published author, and Mr. Lanci Talks Mental Health is my most recent book available. As always, I will end the show with a quote that inspired me, and it sure will for you too. It is from today's Spotlight Entrepreneur, and he said, "If you don't build your dream, someone else will hire you to build theirs. Think big, think fast, think ahead. Ideas are no one's monopoly. If you're born poor, it's not your fault. But if you die poor, it's your fault." Thank you for listening. See you next week on That Entrepreneur Show.